Number one, always assume that a firearm is loaded until you verify that it's not. Number two, don't point a firearm at anything you're not willing to shoot. Number three, keep your finger off the trigger until you're ready to fire. And number four, always be sure of your target and what's behind it. All my hobbies are really a direct result of my dad. We did a lot of things together. We worked on cars, we worked on the house, but I would say I learned 90% of my firearms knowledge on my own. My dad taught me how to shoot a firearm, and he taught me that firearms should be cleaned. You know, he didn't teach me specifically how to clean certain firearms. And the military doesn't teach you any more than you need to know. Military rifles get cleaned 3 or 4 times a day, whether they've been shot or not. So they're more focused on discipline instead of the actual act of shooting. But it is a hobby that I've taken into my adulthood, along with almost everything else that he ever taught me. Got to shoot a couple 1911s and an AR-15. So.
Should have told me, man. I would have brought some.
We had plenty. I mean, I would
have brought ammo.
I've been playing rugby for about a year, and I would say I'm becoming more comfortable with it and know what I should be doing on the field. I feel like the camaraderie of rugby is more focused on than in other sports.
I got ball!
What do you like?
I'm wide.
My ball!
Are you right? I invited a friend over, and he said, hey, yeah, sure, can I bring this other guy? And that other guy happened to play rugby for Denton Rugby, and he said, hey man, come on out sometime. And so I did, and I'm really glad I did.
Drive!
Yeah. Woo!
My hometown is Midland, Texas. Growing up in Midland was hot and dry. For 14 of the 20 years I lived there, we were in a drought. We only got rain about once a year. Well, my parents currently live in East Texas, a little bit north of Tyler. They moved away from Midland about 10 years ago. My dad still shoots. They have a 200-yard range on their property. He has a couple rifles that he really enjoys. He's always got a project going, whether it's like a tractor or working on his truck or building something, some piece of furniture for the house. You know, he's a very active guy. He's in his 60s now, but he's very active and always has a project. So whenever I go home, I help him with that, whatever it may be.
My neighbor last night poured some Coors Light out for her, and she snubbed him. She'll drink cider.
That's probably enough.
Yeah.
Beer's
It'll mellow her pretty soon.
It's not great for dogs.
What?
Terrible for dogs. Yeah, okay, same thing. We're going to do just to build your burrito here.
Will you join us in our family tradition and
Yep.
pray? Yeah.
Okay. Here we go. Yeah.
All right, Caleb's going to pray.
No.
No? Oh, I thought you said okay. Well, thank you, Lord, for having all our family together safe and sound. We thank you for this day that much of the world is celebrating that you have paid the price for our salvation. We thank you for all your blessings, especially this meal. Bless us and bless these fellas on their way back home. And our friends. Yeah, all right. Amen.
Extreme opinions are formed out of ignorance, and that applies to really anything. But as far as firearms goes, I like to say that people who hate firearms have never used one. The firearm in itself is nothing to be afraid of. Yeah, they're loud, and if you don't know how to handle it, it can be a little bit unwieldy, but overall, it's an inanimate object. It's not going to hurt you unless it's acted upon by either yourself or someone else. The firearm itself is not going to hurt you.
I didn't know you were going to shoot.
Oh, sorry, my alarm went off.
Okay. It's all right. I'm already deaf. Can't get much worse.
I'd say my relationship was pretty good. I mean, obviously as a kid, your father is an authority figure, but looking back now, I do realize that he put a lot of time into being my friend, also teaching me a lot of things about life and skills and just a lot.
You don't have a holster, so we'll go from low ready on your mark.
On my mark.
Why not?
Okay. Ready, go.
Pretty well synchronized.
He actually ended up on the Marine Corps competitive pistol marksmanship team. I would absolutely teach my children, well, one, the 4 rules, how to safely handle a firearm, because, you hear about kids having accidents with firearms, and that's, I would say, 99 times out of 100, it's because they were never taught about firearms. They were not taught to respect firearms. They didn't grow up around them, etc. So I would absolutely want my kids to know how to handle a firearm safely. Depending on how old they are, you can teach them to not even touch the firearm if they come across one. Kids are naturally curious, but if they know that something's dangerous and they should notify you when it's around, then chances are they will.
My turn.
I missed.
You only get one miss around here. Yeah, that'll work.
Well, I would say the biggest thing that I learned from my dad is respect. The way he treats people is that he respects them and treats them with respect until they give him a reason not to. There's a lot of people out there who can be morons, but not everyone you run across is. So if you treat people with respect, generally they'll treat you well back. And then if someone doesn't, you don't have to put up with their bullshit.